welcome back to another video. Today, I'm reevaluating my tier list and doing only the unevolved version, so I'm not looking at all three forms of the evolved ones. I'm just looking at the basic, raw powers. I have included Tornado this time, and with Kirby coming out and fully available, I can do this better. I feel like these three tier list videos in a row will be much better than my original first one, as I have played the game a lot more and gotten to know each power better. First is D tier, or the worst, the first ones that I don't think you should use or should use at all. First is the sword. It is slow, it is very powerful for a beginner ability, but it doesn't have a wide range. It's kind of slow and allows you to get hit in the back a lot when you're going through the main basic levels. It is better against bosses. I personally don't prefer it, and I don't think it's very good in its first form. Next is the Needle. The Needle I really don't prefer because it's not that strong, and it's hard to tell in the early game the difference between the straight up neutral B and the rolling neutral B and how all that works. It does do a lot of damage, but when I first got the game and used it, I couldn't tell the difference between the two attacks, and I just didn't use it because it didn't do enough damage to get over that factor. Other than that, it's a pretty good move, though. Next, we have the Hammer. It is slow, it does a lot of damage. It's better in two-player mode when you have someone to watch your back. But I think it is best in its first form, as the damage output compared to the other abilities around it is so much better. As in later forms, like Fire will be very powerful in the next few forms, where Hammer's only advantage starts to dwindle. So now we have the B tier, the pretty average ones, the ones that are very new. We have the Fire ability at the bottom, and it is below Ice purely because it doesn't have the freeze thing, and then you can push it. It does get more powerful than Ice in the future, so it's just below it, just purely for that one. And Ice, same as Fire, except for it has the little freezy effect that you can push them into each other. That's only the only reason it's above this. Above Fire. Next is Tornado. It is a good move. It's decent range. It's kind of like the Needle one, but it's faster. And once you get the hang of it, it's really good. I have had glitch problems with this move before within the Kirby maps, but I think that's just me. I've been looking around and nobody else seems to have that problem, so my bad for not including it in the last tier list. Next is the Cutter. The Cutter is better in first form because you can hold it and run away and do all these things. Because it is longer range, it's not the longest, but the ability to hold it and then aim it as it's coming back is really useful. And I definitely would recommend it if you're not trying to quickly. I recommend the Cutter ability. Next we have the S tier, the best of the first form, in my opinion. First we have the Ranger. I feel like this long-ranged weapon is good. It's kind of hard to aim. I feel like, personally, this is my favorite of the starter abilities, but based on its damage output and its range, and it's hard to aim, just in not charging mode, that's why it's not at the top tier. Purely, it's just not that good. I just really like it a lot. Next is the Drill ability. The ability to go underground and avoid enemy attacks is really powerful. I just think it's not as good against bosses on your first bit through. Eventually it becomes very powerful against bosses, but at first it's a little confusing to use against bosses because some you can't do the stalagmite on, and some enemies can hit you in the ground and it's really hard to tell if they can or can't. So that's why it's not the best tier. Next is the Bomb ability, and last is the Bomb ability. I really don't like this one. It's my least favorite in probably the whole of all the Kirby games across the series. I hated the Bomb. I didn't think it was that good or that useful, but it's really good in this game. Having 3D made the Bomb so much better, and I think it gets worse as it goes along. I think it's really worth it, and you should probably use it. I don't, because I don't like it. I prefer the Cutter ability The bottom's just purely better statistically.